Hello, good morning. We're so glad that you could join us for today's live on Equa Television International, the show that always gives you knowledge, gives you insight, advices, and a lot of things that you knew or didn't know. Today, we are looking at the topic the future of education. The future of education. Many a times you hear people say negative things about education because of what has transpired or what they have heard or what they have seen happen to people, or probably things that have happened to them, so they are kicking against it. They are not interested in acquiring education, and those that want to acquire that, they are either discouraging them or saying one thing or the other that will make them not to feel like forging ahead to acquire that education that they need. So today we are looking at the future of education. As you know, every Thursday we talk about education. So today we are looking at the future of education. I have Solomon Sabo, Prudence, and Joyce. Good morning.
I was just going to say, why is it that anytime I want to talk about education, there's this calmness, there's this solemnness from the host to the set
Because
to
it's
the crew,
education.
like because it's education. There are some,
Yeah.
like it's like there are panel of
Professors.
professors watching. Say rubbish, you carry over this course. We used to have one problem. Say, try me and shock yourself. If you entered, you repeat all your courses.
Wow.
It's not just his courses. So
All.
all that you go to check your results, then you just see parallel F.
Woo.
I was wondering, is it why? I said, parallel F is what
So
you're
he
going
would
to see.
influence
And then when you
other
come-
lecturers.
that when you come and ask, I don't understand. I read, I took my time, I studied, I wrote very well, but I'm seeing parallel F. This is not my result. That's why he would remind you that the training is not in learning and in character, but character before
And learning?
So if
So
there's no
character
character,
comes.
you cannot learn. So we're putting our best character so that we will not repeat
So
the
that we will learn well.
Yes.
Okay. That's wow.
So the future of education.
It's always interesting. Well, very interesting. Education entirely for me is interesting because you acquire new knowledge. You are better than who you are or who you used to be. Like something has been added, and it's always said that the day you stop learning, like it's more like you are dead because as you leave the experiences. It's just that when you talk about education, most times we just take our minds to the classroom. I don't know why we think you only learn in the classroom, but experiences like the moment you decide I'm traveling to this place that you've never been or you've been there before, but on your way there are certain things you observe, there are certain things you see. They are all process of learning. So when you talk about the future of education, it's almost impossible to predict the future. But with the data and information we have at hand, you can say it makes it easy for you to tell that, okay, in the next 10, 20 years, this is what you see. When we're going to go by the parameters, what we have on ground, like in Nigeria, for example, talking about how that JAM year in, year out are registering millions of people, our universities, our colleges, our polytechnics graduating hundreds of thousands yearly. You can almost say that, wow, Nigeria is a great country. Like we've made it. Like the future is really bright. But you don't use numbers. You don't use all of that to tell what the future is, but the impact of the skills that the students have acquired over the years. Like what's the impact on the poverty level that we have? What's the impact on other sectors? What's the impact on unemployment? What's the impact when it comes to creativity and all of that? So I'm not giving up on the future of education. Like generally, I'm not giving up because I'm very optimistic. I'm really hopeful that the future of education is really bright because I can see and I can tell that people out there have taken it beyond the classroom. Like I've seen young people take education upon themselves that see, I will not remain the way I am. Like I can see how people are deliberate about learning and becoming better every day. Now, and with the advent of technology, social media, people go to YouTube day in, day out to learn, to become better, more skilled, at what they are doing. Now you don't even need to go and pay some huge amount of money. Like, no, you don't even have an excuse not to learn, because you have information like accessible and available. So with just 100 MB, with 1 gig, you can read, you can learn, you can watch videos, and of course you become better. And more importantly for me is the skills aspect of it. If you're able to be well skilled in an area or a field where you keep growing, you keep impacting, and the future is bright.
Yeah, the future of education really is the skill that you mentioned. I have seen that people are moving from classroom learning, the formal learning. They are going to skill-based learning, because truthfully, if we are going to just focus on the formal learning, we would really beg for bread. So people are going to the skill-based, and they are not neglecting the classroom learning. Together, you do better. And I also noticed that the classroom learning, teachers will, we're talking about the future of education, right? Teachers would at a point not become primary information givers. I don't know if we understand. We all went to primary school, we went to secondary school, and then whatever your teacher tells you, that is what you pick. You can even go back home and your parents will tell you otherwise, you won't agree. It's what the teacher says. My teacher said this and I know it is this. But with the level of information at our disposal, like Joyce said, we are knowing a lot. In fact, teachers are beginning to learn from students now. So as you're teaching, you're also learning back. So it will get to a point that teachers will no longer be primary information givers. Probably they may just be supervisors, guides. Yes, facilitators. They are just guiding to make sure that you are on track. And because you have a lot of information, you can go online, you can do what you want to do, you can watch videos, you can even give content. It's not just about going to learn, you can also go to give. We have people that have YouTube channels that they sit and give content at their disposal. And then also the future of education, I feel, encourages personalized learning. Then you have to go to school, you have to be a lot in the classroom, you learn at the same time. We had fast learners, we had slow learners, we had the average learners. Whether you're fast or not, you have to go at the pace that everyone wants. But we are in a dispensation where you can sit and learn at your comfort zone. You can sit and learn at your own timing. Meaning you can decide when you want to learn this, you can decide when you want to finish it, you can decide when you want to pick another thing. Like, you are going at your own pace. Nobody is setting the pace for you and saying, okay, in the next 6 months you would have finished with this and go to another thing. So for me, the future of education is exciting, and it is really an intentional thing that if you take hold of it, you would achieve a lot.
If you look at it, in the future, I'm seeing everywhere to be a classroom. Call it formal, call it informal, like everywhere. Like, people now are being convinced. Before, it's not that it's not there. People don't understand that anywhere you find yourself is a classroom. We are not mindful of that. It's just very few that are mindful of that. And that's why people take their time to observe what's happening in their environment, how people do things. And then some people, you don't need to teach them certain things. They just sit down and observe you. For them, that's their classroom. They are just observing you doing things. And then you just see them doing, and then you're like, wow, where did you learn this? He said, all this while that I've been sitting down watching you, I've been observing how you've been doing this. And you'll be like, wow. So you see, for people like that, already they have agreed, they have adopted that anywhere they find themselves, as long as their heart is open for learning, anywhere they find themselves, whoever they are with, they turn that place to be a classroom. But now, officially, everywhere, anywhere is becoming a classroom. In the sense that now you take lectures online. And it doesn't matter from where you are taking the lecture, whether you are in the restroom or as long as the place is quiet, you can hear what they are saying, you're good to go. And with your data, you can access whatever information, whether by reading or by watching, anywhere you are, what you want to see, how you want to learn. That is why we're having chefs now everywhere, simply because all they need is just to carry their phone, go there. How do you make this in a different way? And then they are giving you the recipe. And then before you know it, bam, it's either the person is doing it for her husband or for the family or for herself or for himself. You see, so if you look at it, all this that we are saying is because of the development that we are getting in the technological space. You talk about the innovations that we are getting. One time we talk about issue of solving problems. One of the reasons why we are existing is to solve problems for one another. And then you look at it, okay, what is this? What is that is a major problem here that I think I have to come in? And I come up with my research and I simplify the whole thing for people. Now I watched one video and I saw a robot like in a farm cutting rice, the normal conventional way that we do before, when it's done, you have to go bend down and then you're cutting, and then now it's robot that is doing. Somebody felt, yes, if you have a large farm, you don't need to bring so many people. You simplify it and you bring maybe 2 or 3 robots and you are good. You just sit down and observe. Nobody is saying, I'm tired, I need to go and sit down, I need to go and eat or something, and the work. You understand? Somebody is creating a problem. So just look at it. Now with the coming of AI, you just ask a question and then you just sit down and then you are gisting, just like you are gisting with your friend. You ask this, he reply you, and you say this. You see, so this is the situation that we are. Even at this point, in this part of the world, you can say we are even struggling to catch up. We are even struggling to catch up. If you go to the other side, you will see that the world have moved like 10, they are 10 times ahead of us. So you can imagine the speed of technology and innovation that is coming. So with time, you will not just see those walls, 4 walls, they will be there. But I'm assuring you they will be empty. They will just be there as building. Maybe for future, whatever, either museum or something.
I beg to disagree.
I
beg to disagree with that.
Honestly, that's how it looks.
I beg to
but
disagree.
honestly,
I have my reasons.
It really just looks like that's where we are headed. Why I'm saying it looks like that's where we are headed, you find that already libraries, for you to actually see a standing library is few. It's just for those whose preference is, I want to fill the pages of a book, that you find libraries. But most production, they do more online books than the hard copy books. So it just looks like the whole world is trying to transition to make it possible that you can school or you can learn from anywhere that you find yourself. I could be in Nigeria and study in Denmark or something of that nature, or somewhere around there, Russia, Germany. People are doing that. You would find that people would say, oh, I'm a student of this university, but I've never seen the university. I don't know how the campus looks, but I'm already I'm studying there. I do my documentation, everything. I get my certificate when I'm done, and they just send it, and everything is, you're certified because you have virtual lessons at the comfort of your room. So why it looks like why it looks like very soon or like in the future we'll probably have no classrooms is because if everybody decides to tilt towards virtual classes and nobody decides to go to the school institution, then the institutions would only have probably one building that stands and you have admin staff and that's all. Every other person just
once
does
upon a time.
But will everybody go virtual?
But that's what I was. That's why I'm saying that it looks like that's where we are headed towards, But you see, something about the future is that you cannot just use the present and totally say that that's the picture the future would give you. And there's also the fact that some people would prefer to leave their comfort zone, go around, go out, let me finish this study. When I'm done, then I can come back home. So some people would still prefer to go to the school environment because it gives you a certain form of
The feeling that you are schooling.
there's that. But I was talking about, it gives you focus. For some people, they're easily distracted. Personally, I can't do that. The virtual school thing would not work for me because I cannot even pay attention to it. I can just be in class and I'm basically doing something else. But if I'm in a school environment, it gives me that feel that, okay, this is what you're here for. You need to stay focused. So it keeps me on my toes and things like that. So for people like me who would prefer things like that, I think that the classroom will still be available. But
Well, I'm going to explain later on why I said I beg to disagree that our schools would become museum, or a lot of times you hear people say school na scam. People that went to school, they graduated, product of education, product of people's hard work. Like, I mean, the teachers worked hard on them to be who they are. Today they can read, they can write, they speak well and all of that, and the person will tell you, forget that, in school na scam. Or somebody that is probably unemployed or is hasn't learned any skill is saying that, see, now I went to the school, I graduated, what do I have? Nothing. School na boys school na scam and all. I was boarded public transport and I was conversing with a woman. She was really bitter and she regretted sending her children to school. She said if she had known, she would have used the money to just train them in one form of skill or the other, and it would have been better for her. Why is she saying that? For her, they went to the school, they graduated, and then they are not employed. Mindset. There are people that went to the same school with her children, the same class. Today, they are self-employed and they are doing well in what they are doing. Why do we always think that there's one automatic employment? Like, that's the mentality, that's the impression that when I just go to school and I come out and then I just get employed at NNPC, one big organization, and pay billions or millions, and that's the meaning of life for me. Like, why do you always have to think in that direction? I wouldn't blame people that think that way, because it has been embedded in them as well. That, see, if you don't want to end up like this person, if you don't want to end up like that person, go to school. And that's why when they go to the school, they graduate, they get disappointed
When
because the mindset,
like
the mindset is, I thought that when I go and I graduated, regardless of my effort, this is how I'm going to be. You see, when I was talking earlier about the future of education, how optimistic I am, is that beyond the classroom, we have the technology available for us to do better. See, right now, when you go to school, your lecturers or your teachers give you course outline. It means that the comfort of my home, I can even study ahead of time. It makes learning easy. See, the availability of even diverse information is also a problem if you're not guided. That's why I say, in the future, teachers, like you explained, they will be facilitators. You will always need them to facilitate, to guide you. They are professionals in that field. You see, education for us here, it's not like we don't have beautiful policies. It's not like we don't know what we need to do. But most times it's the implementation. How that we prefer to put the wrong people at the right place or at the wrong time. Imagine having an accountant as Minister of Education. Of course, it's going to affect, of course, the system or the sector. Because that accountant, is he a bad person? No. Is he not intelligent? He is. But for that seat, you need a professional teacher to occupy that seat, because that's the person that knows everything about learning, like teaching, impacting. We're talking about, we should not boast about the future being amazing based on the numbers of graduates that we are turning out. How many of these graduates are employed, be it self or by any other organization? somebody confided in me to help get someone that work in his organization, like a beautiful position with a beautiful pay, but I'm not aware based on what I have on paper of the like I'm talking about the requirement who occupy the position. Like I couldn't think of anyone. So the future of education is, if you are waiting for somebody to put everything in your head, then you will remain unemployed, or you will just be doing nothing. People are looking out for skilled people. Don't go to school with the mentality that, oh, when I go, they will put everything in my head. Now learning is becoming participatory, because it's expected. You have the information now, so you should also have an idea before even coming to the classroom, so that you interact, and then your teacher will just guide you. It's no more garbage in, garbage out. Let's define soil. Soil is this. You are taking notes. No, it is expected that you've seen it. You have an idea as at concerning what it is. So when you come, it is participatory learning. So education now is not just about you sitting down and somebody telling you 1 + 1 is 2, but I should have an idea. I have access to information now. I should have idea about what it is when I go to the class and being guided. I can sit down at the comfort of my house, that what I'm even told, if I don't understand, I can go back and then go through it. That education should allow me to see different perspectives to an issue. That is the future of education. That I don't need to rely on one source of information alone, but I should see perspective, different perspectives. So I just really hope that people start thinking beyond this mindset of education is about, be it from the government or as individuals, it's about just going to school, graduating, getting employed, and like that's just it. You need to be skilled. You have to be thinking of acquiring skills,
and you also need to know that education is a lifelong process of learning.
Of course,
you can't stop it. Just like you have said earlier, you don't stop. There's no point that you say, okay, I'm done. There's no more. If I see something, I won't even read. No, it is a continuous process. Say that after exams, yes. Then when you finish writing, as I say, even signboard, when I see, I will not read it. We need to understand that it is a lifelong process. Whether the classroom formal education or the skill base, you have to keep learning. People that are into fashion designing, people that are into hair making, people that are into you have to, for you to remain relevant in the field, you have to continue upgrading yourself. Nobody will come with a microphone and say, hey, it's time for upgrade, come and line up here. No, you have to sit down and tell yourself, oh, I think I need to improve in this. And by doing that, you have to look at what people are doing. Oh, what is it that people are doing that I don't know how to do? Let me go and improve myself. If not, someone will bring a cloth for you to sew and you can't do it. You only know how to do what they were doing 5 years ago, and they would leave you and go to another person. So you have to upgrade yourself time and time again to remain relevant in whatsoever field you find yourself, whether formal learning or the skill. Yes.
You know, education, like you rightly said, there are different forms of education. It can be formal, it can be informal. They are all important.
True.
So you don't disregard one and then uphold one, or you take one at the detriment of the other one. And like we said, the world is evolving. Things are changing. In fact, right now, when you write papers, when you write books and make reference 10 years ago, people don't take you serious.
No.
Yes.
Because things are changing.
Out of.
So imagine that you finished school, let's say 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and you are there's an issue and you're making argument and identity.
Uncle?
Do you understand? People were like, oh wow, you were taught in school how many years ago? Did you know that sometimes in 2020 there was COVID that changed a lot of things? So things are evolving. You can't just stay like this and think you'll be relevant. That's the word. You will not, though you have an idea of what it is. It can be your field, but you will not be relevant if you don't keep growing. And then as the time goes on. So you cannot say I've reached my peak. Even professors, they keep researching.
Of course.
You see them researching, writing, because new things always evolve. So there are always different perspectives to issues. So beyond what we have and we keep upholding to, when you try this way, it didn't work, try another. Even if it works, you still think, okay, when I try it this way, what will be the result? Even if you don't get the result, but you've learned not to do it that way.
That way.
Exactly.
True,
And,
true.
and one interesting thing that I've noticed is that a lot of the things that we had, like a lot of breakthroughs that you had, is not something that someone just sat down in his house and learned from what. Okay, when I'm saying learned from what others have discovered, is like, okay, so this is how this person is doing it, I have to do it exactly. No, the discoveries and breakthroughs that came about is when people decided to go out of their comfort zone. Okay, so no, Joyce has done this way. Let me see how I can do it in a better way. So I take risk. And that means that there's possibility of failure. If you want to learn, and that's one thing that is really important. In fact, from now to the future, into the future, and through, and to the end of time, one thing about learning is that you're ready to take risk that could lead you to failure. Very interesting. I didn't say success, I said failure. It could lead you to failure so that you will learn. Sometimes failure is just your learning phase. So that you know that, okay, this is what I'm doing. I did this wrongly. No. Next time when I'm doing it, I'll try to adjust it. Because if small things could actually draw you back from learning, if you're afraid, and I'm talking to people out there as much as I'm talking to myself, if you are afraid of the risk that comes with learning, then you would not learn. See, for instance, those that are skillful, and I beg to differ that we keep on saying formal education and informal when we're talking about skills and all that. In some countries, skills, you go through formal, rigorous lessons to learn skill. Take, for instance, fashion designing, interior decoration, and all those things. There are things that you can actually do with your intellect, but sometimes you need that formal education to learn. And
But
some people end
skills
up getting.
does not mean that acquiring skill does not make like what is formal is like you go to the classroom, you learn. That's what it, like in our own context of education. Formal classroom, informal, what you like
I get-
learning
I get-
outside of the
I
classroom.
get that. I get that, and I understand that. My point is that we need to detach that kind of thought, because every form of education, whether you're learning it from the streets or in the classroom, is formal education. That's what I think it is. But what I was heading to is that we need to put away fear when you're learning. Because if you are afraid of anything when you're learning, you end up not learning it. You have to take the risk. Personally, I was trying to learn a skill at some point, and I was afraid to take a step. And because I was afraid, I kept on holding back. And a lot of times people were like, "Why have you not done this? Why have you not done that?" Then I would smile and say, "Oh, nothing. I'm just not ready." But the truth is that I was afraid that if I might just make a mistake. And because I was afraid of making that mistake, I wasn't learning what I needed to learn until I had to let go of that fear. A lot of people are being held back by that when you are learning, be it skill or school. Like when I say school, like 4 worlds. So there are just a whole lot of things that you need to put into consideration in the future of education. Education is a bright future. You would keep learning. In fact, you learn till the day you draw your last breath. You're learning. And it's not something that you can just fold your hands and just say, I finished learning, I'm done learning. Like sometimes people like us in school that time that we used to say, we'll not read even notice on notice board. I would not read, I would not do this. By the end of the day, you find us speaking or something to read.
In talking about
things like that.
risk that she mentioned, I think it has to do with embracing change. Like if you want to grow, you have to be willing to embrace change. And in embracing change, you don't decide what form the change comes in. Like
it
you can't
doesn't
just
tell
say,
you what
okay,
form
it's
it's
only a positive change that will come and that is the only thing. You have to embrace whatever form of change that will come your way. So far it would help you to grow. I was talking with a fashion designer some time ago, and she was saying she has students that she teaches what to do, and some of these students have had experiences before with sewing. And what she teaches them, she shows everything and cuts and they see. But when they go to do what they want to do, they do the former one they knew. They are scared because they feel like, okay, if they do this one, they won't get it. But since they learnt down for so many years, that will work. So they will hide and do the wrong one, then come and show her. So she had to explain to them that, see, you have to embrace change. This is an upgrade. This one you're doing is what people were doing long ago. But this is easier, it's shorter, it saves you more time. So in embracing change, we have to be willing to let go of things that we have held on to a long time ago and embrace what people want. Just like we have said, the world is evolving.
Yeah.
What people want now is not what they wanted before. And even in the sewing area, some of the things that are coming back in vogue now are things that
Were done
before. But we all know that they are not done exactly the way they were done.
Yes.
There is a slight change. So because it was done before doesn't mean that I have to come and do it how they were doing it in the 90s. No, you have to learn, and when you learn, let go of the old things. That that is the bright
Exactly.
future that brings about education.
You see, the reason why earlier I said, everywhere we turn classroom is because now people are beginning to get done with the reality. And that is why you see the normal go to school, get a job, marry, produce, die, retire and die. People are beginning to look at it in a different way. Because why? Because the reality now is facing us. Like you said earlier, the world is evolving day by day. And it's not just that it's evolving. The speed which the world is going, it's just like the speed of a light. Because if you are thinking of bulb, yes, it will give light. Somebody is thinking, no, this bulb, yes, it can give light, but it's consuming energy. Right? How can we modify it? How can we make it in such a way that it will consume less energy? The issue of solar is coming. People are researching. Now people are going to just get a salt and just get the water, and then you power a house for 72 hours. Do you get? You don't need to plug it somewhere to recharge. You have your salt, you have your water, and you put, and then you have a light. This is how people are going. People are just thinking. Why? Because of the reality that is getting done on us, particularly in this part of the country. When Obasanjo talked about the issue of cell phone, people didn't believe him. But today, can you count the number of people that own cell phone now? The number is large. We are talking millions, Nigerians in millions. And is one of the source of income that even the country now is even bragging with. But then they didn't even believe him. Okay, now talking about Android phone, how many people then you can count with Android phone? But look at it now. People are even free to give their 2-year-old baby an Android phone, that when anything happened to the screen, you're talking about 50, 80, 100 or above screen to fix. But you can just see parents freely giving. Why? Because even the world now is coming back to this technology that wherever you are, you access. Why? Because there are some learning materials that is downloaded there that they will just give the child. Instead of the child playing with it, now the child is engaging himself, learning 1, 2, 3 or ABCD or color or something. Instead of spoiling the phone, now the child is operating, that the child can flip the phone and go and look for an app and enter, and then you start wondering. That's the process. So imagine that child growing or becoming an adult, getting married. Imagine his child. Take the level of the technology then. That's how I'm thinking. If we are thinking, we are not thinking of us, not even our children. Think about their children and imagine how the world would be at that time. I see this is the speed that is going, because it is very important that parents should know that it's not business as usual, that you would think no things will just fall in place. Because even some of our parents, if not most, they are being taken by surprise what is happening because they didn't see what is happening now. That is why they gave us what they gave us. Some of us, not all. Like, you just go and read, after all, you will get job. Possibly they are hoping that if you finish university, they will give you beetle. You have one house and they will visit you. Where is it now? Now, the people that are even working, that the parents are saying, go and learn, go and read, go to school so that you have the work. Now the people are leaving the work, are reading something different that had to do with skill. That they will do something, solve a problem, immediate problem, and then get paid instead of waiting for 31 or 30 days to get paid. So you see how the world now is going. Now you don't need, before, you just have to access your teacher. But now, the comfort of your room, you access whatever you want to check, and it's not just one source. You will see different options, different ideas from different people giving you a solution to just a particular question. And you see, that's the reason why parents, like I'm saying, they need to encourage their children. The education is not the ultimate because the world is shifting. When I said earlier museum, I don't mean that the whole place will be empty. Like people. You said?
You mean school?
No, it is. What I'm saying. You see the now that people are rushing. You talked about JAM. Very soon there will not be this JAM thing that you are saying, that JAM are giving people admission. Very soon it will fade. You remember how JAM started, right? Before there wasn't JAM. And you see how JAM started. It was pen and whatever. Now,
you know what? The problem is that we often think that school is just about writing, like theory. There are skills. Most of the courses embedded in them are skills. You study mass communication, you can be an MC, you can be a DJ, you can be a public. All these are skills. You can be a writer,
just for you to do
you can
it
be
better.
an editor. But are you going to school to get the value for the money you're paying, or you're just going to school because somebody said you should go to school? There are people that went to school and they acquired these skills. They are doing well. Some people don't know what it means to be an accountant, but when they got to school, they understood the rudiments in accounting, and they are doing well in their profession. But what's the reason behind that going to school? You see, we often think that skills can only be learned outside school. She was talking about learning outside school, like the informal education, how that we have programmed our head to think that informal education, like, it has nothing to do with writing. But today, tailoring have advanced classes. When you say something is formal, it's being guided by certain curriculums. We have it now even in the fashion industry, that you have to go through beginners class, advanced class. This has become formal. Do you understand? So you cannot say, when I travel now, all the things that I'm learning are informal because it's not guided by any curriculum. There's no subject that say you have to start this way, follow this way. That's what makes some of this learning informal. But most of these businesses outside of the classroom or outside of the school, conventional schools, today they are being guided by certain curriculums. And that's why they will tell you beginners class. You start 2 weeks, I'll be 1 month or 3 months. Advanced class. So then professional classes. Even in cake, in baking, you have all of that. They have made it formal now. So whatever you are choosing, whatever form of education, just take it serious and get the value for what you are paying for. Most time it is the intention of going to that school that is the problem. People just want to get promoted at their offices. People want to compete with their colleagues, and they just decide, oh, let me get this form, I'll go to school. And at the end of the day, your own problem, what you're seeing is not, what do I need to get? What are the informations that I need to know to be better? All you're thinking is, when will this program end so that I can get the certificate?
And some people get the certificate without going to the school. Do you understand?
You get the admission. You don't go for your lectures. You have course outlines. You don't read. All you do is when it's test, when it's exams, at the end of the day you graduate, you get the certificate, and there's no impact on society. Look at the millions, the thousands that year in year out are being graduated for school, and then look at the number of unemployed. How many people that went to school and graduated will boast and say, I have been able to create so job for 1, 2, 3 or 4 people? We keep pointing fingers and say, okay, the government have roles to play, because if the environment is not enabling, no matter what you try to do, you won't you won't prosper. But regardless, you have to be determined that, see, as I'm going to this school, I'm seeing, look beyond your notebooks. And then, what is this course all about? Haven't you seen people that graduated from certain course and they can't even define the concept?
Of course.
What's the mindset? What's the mind? We always think miracle will happen. All I need to do is just go to school. All I need to. People say, in our family we don't have a graduate, so your parents will sell all their land so that you can go to school. You go, you study, you go and cram and get the first class and come out. Your father will look at you and say, wasted investment. Why? Because you've not been able to think outside the box. There are skills embedded. Today, even in the curriculum, universities, there are entrepreneurship. They tell you how that government cannot employ everybody. So what can you do? And that's why the rudiments are being taught, that anywhere you find yourself, identify a problem. The sole purpose of our existence is to provide solutions to existing problems. Most of the people we keep talking about, that history keep making reference to, they sat down and saw problem and decided to work to provide solutions to those problems. But we just keep sitting. You exist for how many years, and you're not providing solution in any way. All you think of is what to get, how can these people make life easy, how can these people make life easy, what can you do to make life easy for another person as well. So we should see education with that mindset, that when I go to school, when I study on my own, when I decide to do some kind of engage in some kind of virtual learning, where we are actually headed to, can I think of what I will get and then what I'm going to give. Sometimes we spend huge amount of money, but at the end of the day, we don't even get value for what. We are not intentional about getting value for what we are paying for.
That is
Do you
because
know how
of
many
the
people
mindset.
pay school fees and they don't go to school? Like, they just feel at the end of the day, all I need to do is just to go behind bars and bribe the lecturer and then give me score. You're not bothered that beyond the scores, what can I do? Look at what employers are doing these days. They'll give you practicals like you're in an exam hall. Do this. There's an employer that I met. He will not even interface with you. All he needs to do is just to send you a form to fill. That form that you fill, you'll be able to tell who you are and what you can do. So think about it. When you now come and they say, okay, take this document, do this, do that. You say you are computer literate and all, and you are looking up and down. Sometimes people get job and they ask you to do certain things. You have to still go and hire another person to help you and do it. Then you pay from them. You want to pay the person. Why? Because we are not intentional about learning. That person you're calling to do the work, why not think that as he's doing it, let me see how he's doing it. Or tell the person to just teach you, put you through. No, we don't want. We say stress. We don't want stress. That's all. We don't want stress. We go to school. Let's read and write tests. You look for a brilliant person in your class. You want to sit next to the person so that when he's writing, you're copying. It's not that. Can you teach me? But I've booked you. This first semester is nice. Me and you.
True. Me and you.
So
That's the language.
Your leg, my leg. So that you just copy, and then we keep having. At the end of the day, you graduate. Maybe your uncle, you're fortunate, is the minister of something, and then he just puts you in certain offices. See how that we have a lot of ministries that are not working. Look at how we have leaders, people occupying positions based on hypothetical reasons, and they cannot deliver. Why? Because people are not deliberate about education, about learning. And that's what I'm saying. There's no end to education. It's really important. Don't someone say, if you think it's expensive, try ignorance. There are people that have a lot of resources at their hands, but they don't even know the value of it because they are not deliberate about education. People cheat them. So sometimes when you send your child to school and you are regretting, there's something that he has that even if it's the business he's doing, you do it differently. You do it differently. So let's not just regret, but let people be intentional. Don't school na scam. Somebody says school na scam. You're shouting school na scam. Try if they remove voice note from WhatsApp, can you type? because communication now is, you can't take away communication from our society. We relate now. We relate to one another. There are people that if it's not voice note, they can't type.
True.
You can't. So
Always busy.
don't allow anybody deceive you that school is calm. Be deliberate and intentional about learning. That's why the government even provides for, or the curriculum for adult education. If I'm unable to do at certain stage, or my parents fail in their responsibility, I can go and enroll evening classes. I know a
Summer
lady that
classes.
started as a mother of 2. She enrolled. She was doing handwork, and she went and enrolled for these evening classes. Today, she has written her secondary school exams already, and she's looking for admission for her institution. She closed from her work. She goes for evening classes. She goes home. So there's no excuse. You can't sit there and keep lamenting. You have to move from lamentation and start doing. Like, what can I do?
To
What
revelation.
can I do? We keep
From lamentation to revelation.
you understand?
No,
We
to
keep
act.
blaming government. Yeah.
Revelation and act.
You keep blaming government. You keep blaming government. Just look within. Look within. What can I do? This economy that we keep shouting, it's hard. It's hard. There are people that are making it
Of
big
course.
time. It's not impacting on them negatively in any way, because they are. Someone say in every problem there's solution, and in that solution is somebody's breakthrough.
It's true.
So let's think beyond just pointing fingers at the government. You will always say it's the past administration. When you also point fingers at your parents for their failures or for system and all, you too
not
have
learn.
been the same as the federal government. They always say, oh, it's the past administration. So let's be deliberate. Even if our curriculum is not, I've had a lot of arguments about, oh, the curriculum is poor, is this, is that, but as an individual, what are you doing to help yourself?
It
Yes,
is from
and-
the mindset, really. You go to school and you find people that don't care. You'll be wondering, how did this one arrive here? They don't care about school. They don't care about lectures. You begin to think if they were forced. And imagine someone like that graduating and having results in flying colors and being in a very big organization. What do you know? That is why we have people that have certificates and they cannot even defend it. You have A's from top to bottom, but you can't. I think you said you can't spell your name or you can't do something. You can't define anything.
My name is Sambo Solomon. Write it. Can you help me
Go-
spell it?
So really, it goes a long way to show that it is from the mindset. If you have the correct mindset and you go there, you are getting value, like you said, for your money, and not just. In fact, you are getting more than what you paid for because you are intentional about every other thing. And when you go back, you research. You don't just depend on what the person is telling you. Hey, A is for apple, and that is all. You keep saying. You stick to that, and you learn more. By the time you're going out, you have more to give, and you have a lot of people that want your services. Why? Because you're standing out. A lot of times there were people that were saying, with the coming of AI, many people will go
lose their
jobless. Many people would be
And you're
managing
scared.
and struggling. Why would you be scared if you are doing the right thing? AI cannot take your job. Why? Because it is a human being that put everything into AI. The AI is only bringing out what has been deposited in him.
Deposited,
So if you are doing the best that you can, you shouldn't be scared that there will come a point that you would not have food to eat because no, you should be able to be intentional, be deliberate about every other thing you're doing, right from going to school, from getting jobs. If you don't get a job, that is why you should have a skill, because there's no assurance that when you go to school, a job is waiting for you. No, you should have a skill so that when this doesn't work, another one works, not when you're done and then you go back looking for a skill. You have to be intentional in every other thing you do. And indeed, the future of education will be bright.
Exactly. But I want to take a step back to what Joyce was saying. I think that is something that we really need to talk about. Blame game. A lot of us are playing blame games
Game.
with our lives, especially in these third world countries, the African countries. We almost always blame the government. Agreed. No disputing. A lot of times the governments are not doing what they're supposed to do. But you see, you spoke about mindset. Our mindsets have been faulty, and we really need to do a massive check on our mindset and rearrange it and reconstruct it. There's something that always pops up while we're in school, something that we always say. for instance, we had a lecturer that when he gives you a question for exams, when you come to write examinations and he gives you a question, you're wondering, did I ever attend this man's class? Because
Applied questions.
because you have no idea what it means. A lot of times you hear people saying things like, he never taught us this in class. Mindset. So now we are blaming the teacher. That he never taught us this in class, but he gave us study guide, he gave us outlines, he gave us assignments, he gave all that. In all your research, you did not get to learn what
We always
you
forget that moment that say he's not coming. Yay! Like you went to school,
Yes.
you paid school fees, and
Oh
it's,
my
you're the best news for you to hear that the lecture
Lecture
has
is
been
not
cancelled.
The class
You're
rep,
so
how far now? Is he
coming?
coming?
When they said he's coming, you are angry.
That's why students never liked maths teachers, because come rain, come sunshine.
They will
They will
come.
come.
They will
And it's
come.
always 8 a.m. Statistics.
Double period.
Double period. Is he coming? Yes, you are angry. Is he coming? No, you are celebrating.
And they will always solve one question halfway so that they will continue the other class. So you will know that he will not miss, because
Of
you have to
course.
finish that one first. Before.
So things like that, we really need to work on mindset, especially here in the community that we've grown in. We need to adjust our mindset. When they say you go to learn, and some people say, I think you mentioned that someone say, I'm just trying, let me just get a C and pass. A lot of people say that, but no, when you're learning, you have to be deliberate, be it skill, whatever you're learning. In fact, everything about learning is that you're opening your mind to learn. Even when you're traveling on the road, I can travel the same road with Joyce, and Joyce will see things that I would never imagine to see, because she opened her mind to see things on her journey. And that's how life is. Life is a journey. So you have to be open-minded to learn on the journey. I'm not talking about work now when you say you learn on the job. No. This is
Who
learn on
employ
your
you?
life
Want to learn on
journey.
the job? A lot of employers
I'm
now.
finding 5 years experience.
5 years, 10 years experience. You just graduated. They're telling you you're looking for 5 years experience.
So
Now
things
they
like
just
that.
want to pick you from another job and give
Yes.
you. That's just it.
Nobody
Nobody
if you are not employed,
Because
they
10
don't
year
want you.
experience.
If you are employed, they want to offer better.
Better.
They'll tell you they don't have time to
Mm.
start training,
Training.
because
True.
now the competition is high
Mm.
out there. Every organization is thinking profit,
Mm.
is thinking growth. They tell you they don't want, and that is why in all you're doing, people always advise that even if you don't get job, be an intern
Yes,
in an organization,
volunteer.
volunteer,
Mhm.
so that it can add up to your years of
Of
experience.
course.
You can also learn in the
Yes,
process.
yes.
It makes things easy. Most of these people will give opening, or they will make opening, and they will tell you 5 years of experience. You just graduated last year. So as much as possible, even while in school,
Cool.
you can enroll in with a nearby organization as an intern or a volunteer. Pick a day that is lecture free day. Most times at high institution level, it's not every day that is
We have
lecture.
Another time,
But we just
mornings.
love to sleep, and then the day that we
Enjoy.
have lecture, we love to hear there is no lecture. And
So
then
why
we go
exactly
back.
are you there?
It's because of the impression that just go to the school, when you finish, you will get employed, be respected in the society. But
Exactly.
if you cannot talk in the society, even when you go to school, you can't contribute meaningfully, nobody respects you. If you cannot provide solution, even with your certificate, nobody will look at you. So it is important that beyond I am a graduate, you hear people beating their chest and boasting, I'm a graduate of this. What can you do? What can you? But with all the problems that are existing, what have you been able to solve? Do you understand? Education is about impact. It's not just accumulation of papers and then writing your names and saying you are this, you are that, or you have gathered this and that. Nobody cares about that any longer. Somebody there's someone that said, see, my problem is what can you do? It's not I'm going to bring my and that's why some organization will prefer to pick even a secondary school dropout if the person can actually solve the problem rather than somebody that has a master's degree, or even let me not call professor before they come for me. But then just try and ensure that while you go to school, while you study, you get value for what you pay for, and
Exactly.
even more value than what you paid for, and also acquire the skill. Think about the skill aspect of your course beyond it, and more importantly, you were speaking to parents how that you just force children to do certain things. As an individual and even as a parent, you check your children, where lies their strength. They don't have to go to the conventional classroom like the school that everybody is shouting about. If his strength is in fashion, take their fashion schools now, encourage the child so that he doesn't go and then join the clique of people that are shouting, yay, no lectures today, and then sleep all over and then graduate and become nuisance to the society. If he's to become a mechanic, he's good at all these electric things, you can just notice while the child is enroll the child in such trainings. There are vocational schools and all of that. At the end of the day, they do exploit. Look at the big names we keep mentioning. Most of the schools they attend, they are vocational and they are doing very well. So where lies the strength of this child? And you as an individual, beyond what your friend is doing and this copy mindset or unhealthy competition, what can you do? Yours might be marketing. If your friend is sewing, your own might be marketing. That can be your own area. Let's just try and discover purpose. What are you here to do, and then build that. But don't get deceived. School is not scam.
Exactly.
Go to school, learn. In all you're doing, get educated.
Exactly. I was going to say that, just as you said, in all you do, get educated, because you're not doing nobody a favor. You're not doing anybody a favor. You're educated is for you. It's not for me. I cannot. There's nothing I can do about your education. I can't destroy your education. I can't destroy what you've learned already. And that's one thing that we fail to understand. When you go to school that year, you go to school and you hear things like, let me just go and give this lecturer what she wants so that I'll pass. It's, you were not doing her a favor, or you are not doing her a favor. You are doing you a favor to learn. It gives you prestige. It gives you an edge. So do yourself a favor and learn for yourself, not for people. It's not for people. You're not doing your parents a favor. At the end of the day, they're not going to use your certificate. You're going to use it. They're not going to use your skill. You're going to use it. They might leave you without. They will die. A lot of times the parents die.
We just love to wear the gowns, but we don't like to go through the process. Have you seen someone that doesn't like to go to school? But
You just want to wear matriculation gown, then graduation.
You wear matric gown and grad gown.
snap 100 pictures. You are happy that you're a graduate, but you
graduate.
never like the
And you go for service, but when they ask you, what did you do while you were in school? You have nothing to give out.
True.
And you will hear someone, okay, I'm a core member, but the core member does not know how to do anything.
Just like Joy said,
Go to
don't pile papers.
NYC
Ruth
camp.
is watching you.
Go
Ruth and Daniel are watching you. Drag them to
to
the wall.
NYC camp. You will see drama. You know, it is very important. You know, like you draw the mind of the attention of the parent. It is very important to know that things are changing. Things are not really normal like the way they used to be, and then in the future you will see a drastic change taking over before your present. So it is very important. You have children, or you intend to have, you have to be deliberate about their future, about their learning, about their education. So you have to make plan for it. If you don't have children and you're planning to have one, start making plans for them, because in the future things is going to be really, really different. Now you see, you have cars that just drive themselves. You understand? So if you are thinking to be a potential driver in the future, begin to think twice, because there will not be a car. Even if there will be, it's not going to be much. You understand? So how many drivers will we have? So you begin to think, yes, if I'm driving, okay, what kind of? You begin to think that way. I think it is very important if we guide our children now to know that learning is taking a different dimension, and you must not learn simply because you want to go and get job. You will learn just to solve problems. That is important. The children should know that as they grow, they hold it and they run with it.
True.
Not with the mindset that this is just way. It's just a straight thing. When you get in, this is the way. Now the world is totally different.
You.
Yeah. So I think
Thank you,
basically
thank you, Solomon Sambo, thank you, Prudence, thank you, Joyce. It was really educative. talking about education. Thank you so much. And just like we have learned and we have heard, education is bright and beautiful. The future is bright and beautiful. It depends on your mindset. It depends on how you want to take it. Just like we have said, it is not just about learning in the classroom and assuming you would have a job at your disposal at the end of your training, but you should also aim towards acquiring a skill for yourself so that when one doesn't work, another would work. And indeed, the world will be a better place for you, for me, and for all of us. I hope you have learned a lot, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Same time, same station. Thank you so much. Bye.